Yo, what up, guys? It's Prob coming at you from the new Clash Royale season number 35 called Bewitched. I finished the top 1K last season. It was pretty cool. I uploaded a video about it. You can see the gameplays like the previous video, but right now I'm currently top 30 in the world, 27 to be precise. And if we go look at the leaderboards, I think I'm also first in Italy, which is pretty nice. In case you guys didn't know, I am Italian. So I know that it's just the second day of the season. It's not that impressive to be this high, but I still want to take you through the games that led me here. As usual, we go as far back as Supercell will allow us to go. So this is the first replay that I can show you, and it is against pretty much the only E-Giant deck in the game right now. It is E-Giant Golden Knight. The only reason this deck is viable is because of the Golden Knight being broken. I don't know if you guys knew about this, but Royale API actually publishes at the end of every season the statistics with the top 1000 decks and top 200 decks. And the E-Giant was surprisingly, yeah, I actually farbled the bomber there, but E-Giant was surprisingly the least used win condition in the whole game, even less used than E-Golem, or I think they were tied or something, but basically E-Giant is dead, and this deck is the only one that actually works with it. Now, you guys might know that Mortar Bait has a pretty good matchup against literally every E-Giant game, really. Every giant deck, like there is not one E-Giant deck that has matchup against Mortar Bait. But I will also say that I have lost this matchup before against this exact guy, Colin here from Mercadians. He did beat me a couple of times, and it's all because of one little trick that the E-Giant players can do, which is Tornado plus the Golden Knight ability. So basically, when they Golden Knight on your side of the arena, when you have like their Golden Knight on your side of the arena, you gotta defend it with something, right? You gotta put something down. And the Tornado that they have in the deck actually works super well with the ability because they can just nado whatever you use to defend, because like you have to put something down, right? Yeah, they can nado whatever you use to defend, and by using the ability at the same time, they can pretty much get a guaranteed hit on your tower no matter what, which is what makes this E-Giant matchup pretty hard actually, because you have to actually like break through. And yes, I miss a fireball there. It's not that huge of a deal actually, because he can't really rush me as long as I have Mortar in my hand. So yeah, the reason they can actually break through sometimes is because the only thing that resists that combo that I told you before about the Tornado and the Golden Knight ability is Mortar, because Mortar can't be moved by Tornado. And as you can notice there, I did cycle my log. I try to cycle spells like when I fireball the bomber or when I hit nothing with the other fireball. I just try to cycle spells throughout the whole game so that I can have a matchup, so that I can have a damage advantage against this guy, because that's going to be really important after. But yeah, I actually lied things here as well. That is also part of the reason this is not that good of a matchup. But I still have a matchup though. Mortar Base still has matchup. But yeah, since I keep interrupting myself, what I was trying to say is that the Mortar is the only thing that you can use to defend the E-Giant, and it is also the only thing that you can use to defend the Golden Knight plus Tornado combo, if you want to be really, really safe. So you gotta like kind of juggle those two defenses. This guy has a pretty slow cycle though. Oh, and yeah, and here I miss the Inferno Dragon with my Goblin Gang, so my Musketeer dies, which is pretty unfortunate. But I did cycle my Mortar early so that I could get to another one. And yeah, this actually saves my ass. If you get caught with your pants down, so to speak, by not having a Mortar when they either have the Golden Knight or the E-Giant, then you're gonna get a lot of damage on your tower. That is the exact thing you need to avoid to win this matchup. Uh, but yeah, pretty much as long as you have a damage lead, like right now I have about 1000 damage, you can sit pretty comfortably. But the more time passes, oh yeah, and when you go for mortars like that, try to predict the Inferno Dragon like I just did there. You see how I played the Goblin Gang? Slightly delayed, so that the guy would have had time to react to my mortar, but you still try to predict the Inferno Dragon, because it is their best answer to a mortar at the bridge, or at the river, like that. So yeah, you pretty much try to keep cycling your mortars. Here he actually predicted it. He predicted it with his Inferno Dragon, and now I don't have a mortar. So how do you defend an E-Giant without a mortar? Well, you try to space your troops so you can't nade all of them. You log it back. You pretty much try to crank as much DPS as possible, and you will always receive damage no matter what. As you saw there, I still received quite a bit of damage, but I had enough of a damage lead by continuously fireballing and logging his tower that, you know, he couldn't really win off of that one small connection that he got. Here I also get another musketeer damage. All the little bits of damage that you can get are very helpful in this kind of matchup, because they can also spell cycle you more than you can spell cycle them. The lightning is almost like a rocket in this regard, so yeah, you gotta be really careful. Here is like the end, so I just try to not receive any unnecessary damage, cycle my spells, and that is win number one against probably the hardest E-Giant deck in the game against Mortar Bait. Still not impossible. Actually, I think that the E-Giant bowler that Trainer Rain uses might be even harder. But you know, for being an E-Giant deck, it's not the easiest. The next one here, yeah, I lost against this, against Kasky. This is such a weird deck. This guy at some point just froze my tower and then mirrored the freeze when there was like a 1 HP Hog Rider. It's just one off of that, but you know, other than that, I do lose quite a lot of games here actually, but let's take it back to when I actually won, because this is from 6,700. I am at 6,900 right now. We have quite a bit of games to go through, and as usual, you can watch all of them, or you can just skip to the ones that you are interested in. The next one here is Golem with Golden Knight. So we pretty much went against the two least used win conditions in all of top ladder. E-Giant and E-Golem are literally tied for the most unpopular win condition in all of top ladder, and we went against both of them. You might notice one thing that they have in common, which is the fact that they both have a Golden Knight in it. So Golden Knight is pretty much the only thing keeping these two dead archetypes alive. And yeah, the mirror makes this deck super gimmicky, super cheesy, so to speak. So yeah, you saw right there how to defend that. That might have been a super overwhelming push for a lot of people, but one good trick that you can use to defend E-Golem pushes with Mortar Bait is to DPS down the E-Golem with something like a Musketeer or Spear Goblins, as you saw there, and then right after it splits, right after the E-Golem splits into the two E-Golemites, you fireball everything. Usually there is more than just the E-Golemites. There is like either a healer or some dragons, or the Golden Knight in that case, or both. But you just fireball everything, and you immediately kill the E-Golemites and make them into those little blobs of elixir. And if you also have a log, boom. Fireball log basically just gave you back 4 elixir. That is a free fireball, and it makes the defense super clean. But if you miss a fireball, you are already dead. So in this matchup, you don't really have to worry about getting damage on your opponent's tower. Like, the damage is gonna come by itself. If you just defend correctly, you're not gonna have to worry about actually attacking. So yeah, pretty much I'd say this is a really good matchup. All E-Golem decks are a good matchup for Mortar Bait. This might actually explain why E-Giant and E-Golem are so dead in the meta right now, because they are actually some of the easiest matchups for my deck. So as far as I'm concerned, I totally understand it. And this is one way that they might catch you off guard. As you can see here, this is a trick that only this deck that this guy is using can do, which is to mirror the Golem. It might be super overwhelming if you don't defend it correctly, because that is so much HP for so little elixir, but as long as you can kill them, as long as you can do that little trick that I told you about and that you can see here again, Fireball Log, you can get all the elixir back. Just keep stacking your Musketeers, get to another Fireball, and boom, something that might have overwhelmed 99.9% of the decks in the game handled really well here. No elixir wasted, no elixir leaked, and that's how you defend it. So yeah, two easy matchups to start the game with, but still useful to learn. I see a lot of people that ask me like how to defend E-Golem. They get overwhelmed easily, and if you don't know that trick with the fireball, just fireballing the E-Golemites and then just logging everything, then yeah, defending can be really easy. They can overwhelm you pretty easily. So yeah, as long as you know that trick, that's how you defend it. For the next one, yeah, this is Loon 2.9. You might know it's one of the hardest matchups in the game for Mortar Bait. And this is another easy matchup, actually. This is Miner Control. So this deck right here is actually one of the most solid decks in the game in terms of matchups. It can defend pretty much anything, except, you might have guessed it, Mortar Bait. Mortar Bait is a really, really good matchup against this deck, especially the Inferno Tower variant, which is more popular right now. And yeah, this deck also appears in my newest map of the meta. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, you can check it out there. I made a map of the meta with the 30 most popular miner decks in the game. And this is one of them, along with the Tesla variant. Both this and Tesla variant appear in that map. They are in the rocket category. And you know what? I might actually upload that map of the meta on YouTube as well. YouTube did give me a community tab. By the way, thank you for all the new follows on YouTube. I did get a community tab because of that, and thanks to that, I can now upload these maps of the meta with the most popular decks on YouTube as well. So if you want to check that out, just go in my community tab, and you can also see the 30 most popular miner decks in the game. This is actually one of the easiest, if not the easiest, actually. Yeah, this is actually the easiest miner deck in the game to play against for Mortar Bait. You can see there one of the reasons is that I can predict the Inferno or the Tesla with my cards, because Tesla only requires you to put a Knight in front of the Mortar, and Inferno you can defend either with Goblins or with like with Goblin Gang or with Spear Goblins. And even though they do have a log, you can go Spear Goblins on one side, and if you know that they have a log in their hand, you go Goblin Gang on the other side of the Mortar, and they can't log all of it. So Inferno Tower is pretty much useless unless they use it back down on defense rather than directly on your Mortar. It's also like really hard for them to defend because their delivery is pretty much useless. As long as you don't go for counter pushes, the delivery is really good when you're trying to put a Skelly Barrel in front of your Musketeer or something. They can just deliver all of that. But as long as you try to just mortar at the bridge and support with a Musketeer in the middle, just like that, they can't really do anything about it. They can only tank with a defensive Miner or some Skeletons or a Dark Prince. So their pushes are actually a lot easier for you to defend than they are for them. So yeah, when they go for Infernos or Teslas like that, in that exact position, you can bypass them with the Skelly Barrel by placing it behind the crystal, in this case. The actual term that I've heard used for that position is behind the fence, because in the Legendary Arena there is a fence there, but I guess in this arena it is behind the crystal. Oh yeah, here I activate King Tower. That is also a very useful thing you can do in this matchup. You don't necessarily need to activate your King Tower, you can definitely win without activating your King Tower. But since your opponent does have an E-Spirit, it's really, really useful to just activate your King Tower whenever you can. Like, you don't need to force out an E-Spirit or anything, but if they ever make a mistake by getting an E-Spirit by itself on your Princess Tower, you can definitely activate that with most troops in your deck, actually. You can activate it with everything. Against an E-Spirit, you can activate your King Tower with a Knight, you can activate it with a Musketeer, you can activate it with your Spear Goblins, you can even activate it with a Goblin Gang, believe it or not. The timing is a little tighter on the Goblin Gang, but it is definitely possible. Not even that tight, actually. So here he gets a pretty value Nado, but you might have noticed that we keep getting sneaky mortar hits on their tower, and throughout the whole game, we do want to cycle mortars and logs and fireballs. And here he made a huge mistake. Sometimes you can try to bait out a Nado, not a Nado, sorry, a rocket, by playing a Knight on your tower, or if you really, really want to bait out one, you can play a Musketeer. And in that case, you can like just pressure immediately at the bridge right after you do that, because if they are gonna rocket that, then they don't have enough elixir to distract your mortar. But you gotta do it when they don't have skeletons or E-Spirit in cycle. So that was win number 3. I guess another pretty easy matchup. So 3 easy matchups to start the video with, I guess. And here is our first questionable matchup. Now, usually against GG Sparky, Goblin Giant Sparky, it is not the worst matchup. It's pretty hard to play. It's honestly a deck that if you don't know how to play Mortar Bait that well, it is gonna give you a lot of trouble. But this version especially, it has the Mother Witch, which is super good against Mortar Bait. Mother Witch is incredibly annoying against this deck. So they can get so many hogs and force out so much elixir out of you, and they can just win out of that. But especially the not the Golden Knight, sorry, the Goblin Giant Sparky decks. If you're just like 2 elixir behind or 3 elixir behind, they can take your whole tower, man. They don't need that much elixir advantage to kill you, and Mother Witch can force out that elixir advantage really well. So super hard to play. Here I can show you a little trick. If your opponent has Sparky, you can actually kill a full HP Sparky by uh, chipping it with your mortar twice. So 2 mortar shots have to hit the Sparky, and you also have to log fireball it. That is a lot of elixir, but it also gives you a lot of damage on their tower, and that really helps out. So I guess Mother Witch, you don't want to play your Goblin Gang or your Spear Goblins that much. At this point, I didn't know yet that he had a Mother Witch, so I just went Goblin Gang at the bridge. I think, expecting not to have a Mother Witch. Did I go for it? Oh no, okay, I didn't go for it. But, once you know that they have Mother Witch, definitely don't do that. Don't play your Spear Goblins and your Goblin Gang unless they are getting tanked for by something else. Because that can just lose you the game by itself. Just 1 or 2 hogs on the field for a deck like GG Sparky is definitely enough to kill you. And here, yeah, see, if I knew that he had Mother Witch in the deck, I would not have put that Goblin Gang down. I would have literally just kept the 4 elixir for the Fireball the Mother Witch, and everything would have been perfect. But right now, I have an impossible push to defend because I got way taken off guard by the Mother Witch, and now I have no elixir to defend all of this. I somehow actually, tank enough damage to, uh, you know, not lose my tower. So I defend with the mortar. I try to tank for the both the hogs and the goblin giant with the mortar itself. Here I fireball the next Mother Witch, and I actually use the spear goblins just in time so that the golden knight doesn't get on my tower. So I was caught really off guard there by him having the Mother Witch, but you know, by tanking enough damage on my tower, so I don't try to get a perfect defense because trying to get a perfect defense would have definitely lost me the tower there. But I also don't completely lose my tower. And here I actually carried super close with those spear goblins. They were very close to the tower. I would have lost the tower there if the spear goblins were close enough. But then I fireball logged because I knew that my opponent didn't have enough elixir to overwhelm me at that time. I almost choked it at the end though. Really close game, mostly due to the surprise factor of the Mother Witch. But yeah. Now here we have our first hard matchup of the video. This is Golem with Golden Knight. You might have noticed, this might be a little problem, Supercell, but you might have noticed that every single deck so far had the Golden Knight. And that is not a coincidence. Golden Knight is right now the strongest champion in the game. It might be even the strongest card in the game, if you ask some people. I personally think the strongest card in the game right now is Archer Queen still. But, Golden Knight is definitely up there. If you ask the majority of people, they will tell you that Golden Knight is the strongest card in the game at the moment. And this one is actually a hard matchup. This one is against Golem Lightning. Now, Golem by itself is not necessarily a super hard matchup for Mortar. Mortar Bait can be good against some Golem decks, when they have E-Drag rather than Lightning. It is okay if you play super well, like they can't really overwhelm you if you don't make mistakes. But this one right here, you have to actually outplay your opponent quite a lot to win, because you always need to not get overwhelmed by the lightnings. You need to get some very sneaky damage, like I did here with those Spear Goblins lug. I got a couple more mortar shots on the tower, and you can almost never play your mortar. Like right now, I played my mortar because I didn't yet realize that he had golem, but now that I do know that he has golem, I can just defend. And if you can't get an early lead like that, like my opponent made a pretty big mistake with his baby dragon. I got a bunch of mortar shots because of that nice spear goblin slug. But if you can't get a bunch of early damage like this, you can get stuck on defense for the whole game. They can keep cycling golems on defense, and as soon as you kill their previous golem, they immediately go for the next one. And you can't really do much. Here, you also need to do what I did before with the Goblin Giant deck. You have to sometimes tank a lot of damage, which I am a perfectionist usually. I try to defend all damage. I try to get like a flawless defense. But against decks like this, against Golem, against the Goblin Giant, sometimes you have to tank damage because you need that extra elixir for the next push or for applying pressure. So I go for Goblin Barrel there. It's gonna allow me to get enough damage for just a Fireball, or a Fireball Log in this case. And now I just have to defend for the next 30 seconds. As long as I don't lose my tower here, I already won, and it's all because of that early lead. Especially because of the Spear Goblins plus Log thing. That is pretty much what won me the game there. Those extra mortar shots really helped me out. As you can see, he's trying to do that thing that I was talking about before, where just keep cycling golems. But the golem enters in the mortar range. I don't even need to fireball his tower. And this shows you what happens if you don't have anything for their golem. They can lightning everything you have. You have a golem in your tower. I pretty much only won this because the timer ran out, but this shows you a little trick. If you mortar like that and then you log the golem, you actually can get it out of your tower. So that move by itself could have pretty much saved my tower for the next push. There's a pretty nice trick to know when you have a golem on your tower to retarget it in your mortar. So that is game number 4, I think. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Actually, game number 5. Yeah, I already show 5 games. Wow. Yeah, time really goes quick when you're having fun, huh? How many more do we have? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6. 6 more games. Well, this is gonna be another 1 hour video, I think. I don't really want to spend that much time, but these are some really good games here, man. These are some really close games. Nobody's gonna watch the whole thing anyway. I'm pretty much wasting a full hour of my time commenting over these games that I already played for like 100 people watching them. Not that I don't appreciate it, guys. I do appreciate the 100 people that watch my videos, but damn, bro, to have the audience of some of these other Clash tubers, oh, you can only wish. So this is the drill wall breakers deck, the Valkyrie variant, and it's a very hard matchup. The SK variant is a lot easier actually than the Valk variant, and as you can see there, I already have to eat a lot of damage just to not fall terribly behind on elixir. Despite eating 2 wall breakers on my tower, I'm still 2 elixir behind. So yeah, you're gonna need to know how to defend fire spirits when you go against this deck. That is one of the ways you can do that, by playing a Excalibur opposite lane at the right timing. You can make it so the fire spirit actually gets killed by the tower before even jumping on your barrel. Also, Goblin Gang is the best answer to drill, and Mortar is the best answer to wall breakers when you actually can't DPS them down. They still go there. So yeah, that whole interaction there, especially that fire spirit at the end, was an overspend by my opponent, and this does put me back in the game, despite that shaky start where I got starting handed. Here I actually log a little too early. You really gotta learn when to log the drill in this matchup. You really need to know that, because if you log it at a certain HP percentage, then the goblins actually die. That defends it pretty well. But yeah, these kind of deck, man, they have such a fast cycle that they can just run laps around you. They quite literally can just keep spamming you and keep you occupied on defense and still overwhelm you. Even if you spend all of your elixir on defense, they can still overwhelm you. So you have to find a way to attack them. You can't just stay on defense the whole time, the whole game. You're gonna lose. Like, look, right now, I pretty much defended the whole game. I didn't really attack, and he already has 1000 damage lead over me. So you can see here I attack, I predict the Inferno, that is really important to do sometimes in those drill matchups, and I also log the Bomber, I think, so that my Mortar can connect on the tower, and you really need those Mortar connections. Their best answer is of course to wall breakers your Mortar, but as you can see right now, man, my tower is at 1200 HP, and you know what, I'm actually gonna look there, because both when I was playing and even right now when I was commentating, I actually lost. I actually didn't see how we got all that damage. So apparently it is another drill. Yeah, wow. Drill can be really punishing. So yeah, what happened here? Was it just the guards? Bro, the guards by themselves got so much damage. Yeah, I missed them with that Goblin Gang. And that one guard, that one single guard got my tower all the way from 1700 to 1200. Wow, that is pretty crazy. But yeah, as long as you keep pressuring, the the general rule in this matchup is whoever is defending is gonna lose. And yeah, if they fireball your defense like that, you can just log it. You can just log the drill, and they're not gonna get any extra damage from the spawning goblins. So like you always have to be ready with a log on defense in those later parts of the game. As you can see, it's gonna get even more damage now. And here I was starting to panic. I was like, oh no, the damage lead is too much. Uh, I definitely can't come back anymore. So I started panicking and I just started spamming the bridge. But if you do it right, like right now, I just logged the wall breakers on defense. I put the spear goblins, the mortar hits the guards, and I can get some extra damage there. Another thing that you might want to do is to double lane pressure. So you want to attack and defend at the same time. Here I have to go for perfect defense pretty much. And I almost lose here. I panic, I put a musketeer down, and they just start spamming both lanes. So for these guys, defending both lanes is actually pretty hard. I go for a push where he has to spend all of his elixir, but on the other side, I still have everything alive. So I keep spamming on the other side. He has too much elixir on his other side there, and boom, that is enough to steal the win right at the end. So in these matchups, the rule is, remember, whoever is defending is the one that loses. Try to be the one attacking for the most time in the whole game. Whoever is attacking for the longest wins. Now this next one, I don't even know if it's a real deck, bro. This is just pretty weird. The cannon is the only thing making this a hard matchup, and I'm actually gonna start doing it on 4 times speed because bro, these videos are getting too long. I might have to change my general rule of going as far back as Supercell will allow me, because these are gonna be some long videos otherwise. If I wanna do them consistently, I definitely can't do it like this. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna put only 1 or 2 videos out every season. That actually sounds like a good idea. 1 video at the start of the season, 1 video at the end of the season. Or I just put all of them at 4 times speed like this. And if you guys are interested in the matchup, you just slow it down. Put it on like 0.5, 0.25 speed. Yeah, I even wasted a fireball there. I was almost choking here at the end. But not the worst matchup. If you always keep your mortars for their skelly barrels or or your logs, this doesn't look too bad. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Actually, let me know in the comments. I'm not usually a guy that says, guys, write in the comments this or write in the comments that, but you know, write in the comments if you think I should show as many games as possible, as many battles as possible, and only do like 1 or 2 ladder videos every season, like one at the start and one at the end, or if I should show like 2, maybe 3, 4 games max every video and do videos more consistently, like 3 times a week or something, or like maybe 4 times a week even. I don't know. Just let me know in the comments what you think would be a good publishing schedule. So this is Lava Clone. This is one of the worst matchups in the game for Mortar Bait. It's really, really hard. And I also didn't have a good starting hand, so luckily didn't play my Musketeer on the Lava. I kept it uh, for the Flying Machine. And here I got really unlucky. That Excalibur would have usually killed both the Lava Pups and the cloned Lava Pups, but the guy had a one bat, literally one bat, that just distracted my tower, so the clone lava hound didn't pop, and that just ruined the whole sequence. I luckily still defended pretty well. I had a knight to catch the little slip there with the bat, so that worked out in the end. But yeah, this is a super super hard matchup. You want to get their tower before overtime, so that if you reach overtime alive, you're okay. But it's really, really hard to not get overwhelmed, to not lose your tower. Right here, the baby dragon goes in front of the lava, so I can tank for it with my knight. And that is still not enough. There is so much stuff on the field. He clones everything, and if I didn't have my Skelly Barrel in hand here, I would have lost my tower pretty much. But Skelly Barrel in this matchup is kinda like a second Fireball, but it only works on cloned troops. All the cloned troops die if a Skelly Barrel dies on top of them, because they're all 1 HP. But something like a Baby Dragon, something like a Lumberjack, if they're not cloned, if they're the real deal, they survive, bro. You don't want that. So you always want to have your Musketeer same lane of the lava. If you ever cycle a Musketeer on the other side of where they put their Lava Hound, you have already lost. There is nothing you can do. So here I tank with the Knight. I know that he's gonna clone everything, so I Fireball. And that Fireball comes right in time for the clone, luckily. And here I think I go for another Skelly Barrel to defend everything. Or actually, no. I should have probably gone for a Skelly Barrel there, but it doesn't really matter. It's not going to take my whole tower with just one Baby Dragon. Here, log everything, I think. Actually, no, I don't even log everything. And, oh, well, yeah. Now I remember. I almost choked this. Look at that. Look at that. I should have Fireballed that. I don't know why I didn't Fireball that. In another situation where my tower wasn't full HP there, I would have lost because of that. I just needed to hover my Fireball, and I would have, saved my ass there. But you saw how much damage you got in like 3 seconds if you're not careful. So yeah, use your Skelly Barrels right, use your Fireballs right, and you can also win against Lava Clone, which is one of the hardest matchups in the game for Mortar Bait. There you go. Now for the next one, oh yeah, this is also against Camille. This is the same guy that I played against when he was running the E-Giant deck, right? Oh no, that was Colin. Okay. I just confused them. They are two different people. But yeah. Oh, here you can see how I lost against the same E-Giant GK deck. So even though it's E-Giant, it can still be hard, as I said before. But yeah, let's watch this one against Camille. If I remember correctly, this is a super close game. So I'm not gonna put it at 4 times speed or 2 times speed. I'm just gonna keep it at the speed it is. And you're gonna see this is actually really hard. I feel like Expo is already, like Expo 3.0 is already a 50-50 matchup with Mortar Bait. Like either player can win. It's just really about outplaying your opponent. And oftentimes if your opponent is good, it goes all the way down to the tiebreaker and you just have to spell cycle at the end. But pretty much if you can survive single, you're already through the hardest part. The Archer Queen variant, though, when they have Archer Queen instead of the regular archers, is a lot harder. You can see right now that I'm already struggling to keep up with the Expos. I am playing my cards at 0. I'm getting outcycled. And I didn't really even make any mistakes yet. I mean, I didn't have a good starting hand for the general purpose of the game, but I still somehow defended. And this is the biggest problem. The Archer Queen is so hard because you have to put as much elixir into defending the Archer Queen as you have to put into defending the Expo. And that means that you have to overspend for 2 different cards in their deck. That means that they constantly keep you at 0 elixir. I always have to have something tanking for the Archer Queen, tanking for the Expo. It's really hard to keep up with and to not get overwhelmed, especially in single elixir. If you can survive single elixir though, you're through the hardest part. It's gonna be a little easier. Here I played my Musketeer at 0, but the Knight was already close enough that the Musketeer target died instead of the Expo. So I also log, just so that my Musketeer survives. That doesn't really end up mattering because the Musketeer only gets 1 shot, which I guess is enough actually to justify the log. The only problem is that I'm really behind in elixir. Like if he went for Archer Queen log at the bridge there, I would have lost my tower. I gotta thank my lucky stars that this guy didn't go Archer Queen log at the bridge. As you can see though, this is gonna be really fucking hard to defend, man. This is Expo on one side, Archer Queen on the other. Archer Queen kills all of my Goblin Gang, gets a bunch of shots on my tower. I still Fireball the Expo, and I even Mortar on defense, which I might argue it's kind of an overspend actually. The Archer Queen in the meantime pretty much got as much damage as I did on my other side, and that means that I'm back to square one here. But I feel like I could have defended that a little better if I maybe logged the Archer Queen. Since I didn't really need the Mortar for the other Expo. I could have either logged the Expo or logged the Archer Queen. So either saved 2 elixir or saved a bunch of damage on my other tower. I feel like saving 2 elixir there would have been better actually. But no, now the Archer Queen gets 2 more shots on my tower, and this is bad. This is really bad against any Expo deck, be it Expo 3.0 or Ice Bows, especially Ice Bow, or like this Expo with Archer Queen. You don't wanna be behind in damage. If you're ever behind in damage against an Expo deck, oh boy, you're done for. Because they can just start Expoing on defense. And now not only do you have to defend all of their insane pressure, you also have to get damage somehow on their towers, because otherwise you will lose at the tiebreaker. So always try to keep the damage advantage on your opponents. Here I almost get enough damage on his tower by cycling some spells to get the damage advantage back, but he sees this, he tries to keep me on defense, he doesn't really want me to cycle spells on his towers without getting punished, but as long as they go same lane as you, as long as they go in the lane, actually not same lane, but as long as they go in their lowest tower lane, then you can fireball their X-Bow and get the tower damage as well, and that allowed me to pretty much get back in the game. I overspent on the Goblin game there because I did think that it would log the skeletons and that would have locked the Archer Queen on my tower. Here he goes for a knight, so I think I fireball. Oh yeah, no, I just fireball the tower. I thought that I would fireball the knight, but actually that is not even that stupid. Because now it's triple elixir, almost. Or is it already? I feel like it's already triple elixir, yeah. So yeah, it's triple elixir, and I do have enough to tank for their stuff. I also have a little more HP on the right side, so I can definitely tank some X-bow shots. The tower HP in that case is kind of like extra elixir, is like something that you can keep. So here I can fireball and log the X-bow. Always do that whenever you can get value for it, because you need to keep up with the spell damage. And the the end in those games is always super close. It's basically whoever has the cycle more aligned with the tiebreaker wins. Because if the if the time went on for a couple more seconds, he could have gotten that fireball on my tower, and then I couldn't have gotten my next fireball on his tower. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a sinusoid. It's like now I win, now he wins. Now I win, now he wins. You know what I mean? Like you just go forward with the time, and just based on whoever is aligned with the end of the timer is the one that wins. Because at that point, it's kind of like I could be winning or he could be winning. It's just whenever the game ends, whoever is the last guy that fireballed, even if we're both just cycling, is the guy that wins. It's so weird. It's pretty much down to luck, in my opinion. Whoever is aligned. I mean, there is skill involved, of course, but whatever. I'm digressing. Let's go on to the next one against Bryosh CR. Oh boy, we're almost done. I've been talking so much. I need to drink some water. You know what? Let me get some water. Oh boy. So, how was your day, guys? Damn. I really did need to shut up for a little bit. People don't really think about it, but YouTubers talk so much. YouTubers are so obnoxious. Am I right? All right. So, this is a graveyard freeze deck. Bowler, of course, is in there. And this is another one of those matchups where every single hit counts. This guy is flexing his top 100 GT emote. I don't have one of those yet, actually. I want to get a top 100 GT emote. I don't have that. So yeah, you want to defend the graveyards with your spear goblins. If they freeze either your spear goblins or your goblin gang, you need to have a log ready, because even if you answer with a musky or with a knight or something, it's already going to be too late. Your reaction time, or my reaction time, I guess, is too slow. There will be too many skellies. So the only answer to a freeze on your defense is a log. You always need to start it out with a log. And yeah, throughout the whole game, this just like the other E-Giant deck, you want to get... oh yeah, here these are really good trick. Actually, pay attention to this one. Don't pay attention to my ramblings, just pay attention to this interaction here. I go for a Skelly Barrel in the inside, which makes the Nado even easier for them. This is basically a guaranteed Nado. If you play your Skelly Barrel behind the crystal, they might not Nado it. They might Nado it after it pops, because some players are bad like that. But if you Nado it on the inside, if you put the Skelly Barrel on the inside, so in front of the river, they're always gonna Nado it. And if you know that they are gonna nado it and they don't have enough elixir to play anything else because you played your Excalibur real late, you can go for these spear goblins right here. They are put in the fast position, so they get to the tower faster than if you play them in the safe position, or like in the other position, I guess. And they get so much damage. Look at this. So many spears on the opponent's tower because the Skelly is actually distracted. That is very valuable damage. The guy even says, wow. The guy's like, what? I just activated my king tower, but that was part of your plan all along? You must be problematic, or the best Mortar Bait player in the game. So yeah, definitely that is a cool trick to do. You also want to mortar opposite lanes sometimes so that they waste elixir on the other side when they have so much damage on your other side, because he had to answer that, he couldn't put it on this side, and even after answering that, I can just ignore the Ice Wizard. So that is just extra damage, extra elixir for me. That is pretty good. Here I just fireball the stuff, and defending with a Musketeer plus Knight is really nice when they don't nado everything together. Musketeer plus Knight is actually really bad if they can nado them into the bowler. And here I actually protect the Musketeer with some Spear Gobs, which forces a freeze out of him, and also he gets lucky with the Ice Wizard, which tanks a shot from my Mortar. Or I guess the Mortar wouldn't have shot anyway. But yeah, we got to the point where I can pretty much start fireball cycling my opponent. I will fireball at any occasion, because I know that right now I can't really break through with anything, so the only damage I can get is spell damage, and I want to finish his tower before we get on triple elixir. Because these graveyard decks, bro, both the freeze ones and the poison ones, are extremely hard to defend in triple elixir, so you don't want to get to triple elixir. I log there, but I also have to Musketeer, otherwise those Kellys are going to get a bunch of damage on my tower. And the Musketeer was maybe a mistake because I pretty much played it into the bowler. The guy wows again. He's like, wow, this Problematiker must be a really, really good player. But what I'm trying to do right now is just cycle 2 logs and 1 fireball, because that's all I need to win. And they just have to not get overwhelmed in the meantime. So I play whatever I can. Oh yeah, here I fireball this because I would have gotten overwhelmed. I didn't fireball on offense because that would have been my end, pretty much. And here I go Spear Goblins on one side, Goblin Gang on the other, so he can't freeze both. And that saves me just enough to play my 2 logs and the last fireball to win the game. Log number 1 goes down right now. Boop. Fireball doesn't go down yet. I think I cycle a Knight first. Or yeah, no, a Mortar. Mortar is even better because it doesn't allow his stuff to cross. Go for Goblins on one side, Goblin Gang on one side, Spear Goblins on the other, and boom. That is GG. That is a to win against Brioche. Nice name. Now for the last freaking game of this insanely long video, which I am probably not gonna do again. These are very long videos. I'm probably just gonna do 4 games or something for the next ones. But yeah, for the last game we have something insanely hard. It's like Loon 2.9, but I think this is like 2.8. You know what? Let me actually check. I think this might be either 2.8 or 2.7. Pretty sure it's 2.8. No, still 2.9. But it has archers instead of musketeer. That's weird. I thought it was even faster. But yeah, this is a very, very hard matchup, man. Because Loon 2.9, as I already said, is one of the hardest matchups in the game. And archers makes the cycle even faster. I guess not fast enough to go down to 2.8, but yeah, just watch this. This is a matchup that is as hard as Hoggy Q, and I played it so well. Not to toot my own horn here, but this one game I played it so well that it looked like I was the one having matchup. Yeah, I know, right? Mortar Bait having matchup against Loon Cycle? Crazy. Who would ever think that? Am I right, guys? Am I right? Oh my god. I'm getting a headache. I've been talking too much. So, very nice defense there. Panic Fireball for all the stuff. And sorry if I'm playing this at 2 times speed, but I think I'm done with this recording. This is a really long recording, and it's like what? It's like 11. I'm kind of tired. I'm gonna be honest. I woke up pretty early today. So yeah, I try to predict the archers there. When they distract your mortar with an ice golem, they're almost always gonna put their archers in front. And the fact that he has archers is actually better in this case because Goblin Gang plus Log would not have killed the Musketeer. He could have answered it with anything, but it does kill the archers before they can answer with anything. Here, of course, I predict a bomb tower, and the fireball was a kinda extra, honestly. The fireball log especially was kinda extra. This guy could have gone in with Loon Snowball and I would have lost, but luckily he didn't. I protect my Musketeer there, which was insane. That Musketeer survived both a Miner and a Bar Barrel. That is, I think, what made me win the game. And here I miss a fireball, which could have lost me the game actually, but I put a mortar last second, and my tower was locked on the Loon, which allowed me to survive there. That was really nice. And here I already have the damage lead, so once you have the damage lead against these decks, which is usually pretty hard to get, the damage lead by the way, you want to start cycling your Musketeers. You want to do some mask stacking, which I have a tutorial about by the way. Check out the mask stacking tutorial if you get the chance. It's basically like you just place your Musketeers every time you have them in your hand, again and again. So you always have a Musketeer alive on the board. By the time your first Musketeer reaches the river, you already have a second one down. And there is always a Musketeer, which you can definitely do in this matchup because they don't have a Fireball or anything. So Snowball isn't enough to kill your Musketeer, especially if you defend them against the Miners, which you really need to do in this matchup. You really need to defend your Musketeers against the Miners and the Bar Barrels and stuff. So yeah, I got lucky with that insane defense of my Musketeer there early in the game, and I pretty much rode that wave until the end of the game, winning against a pretty hard matchup with the tiebreaker, of course, and you know, that was a bunch of games. This guy also flexing the GT emote, so these are pretty good players, guys. I ain't winning against no Uncle Joe there, or average Joe, I guess, or Joe Mama, if you will. But yeah, those were 11 games. I just showed you 11 games. Hey yo guys, I think that deserves a subscribe on my YouTube or something. Am I right? Am I right? So yeah, I guess I'm gonna see you on the next one. I'm currently still top 27. I guess ladder is really slow at the start of the season. And hopefully next time I see you, I'm still gonna be top 30 in the game. Probably not, but I hope I'm gonna still be top 100 at least. I wanna reach Ultimate Champion this season. Wish me luck, guys. Bye bye!